fantastic morning in the capital, Thursday, the 14th of August, 2025. The time has clocked 13 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. Greetings to you, the lovely GIC viewers and listeners within and beyond the borders of the Republic of Namibia, and a very warm welcome to the Government Information Center. This morning, we are tackling OMAS, which is Offices, Ministries and Agencies Information Sharing Session, and we are discussing the forest VELD fire management. But as is the norm, I'd like to pause here and extend a warm invitation to you, Namibia, to be part of this discussion and follow the conversation on our social media platforms where we are currently streaming the show live. Now on Facebook, we are at Ministry of Information and Communications Technology, or alternatively, you can stream us live on our YouTube channel, and our handle there is MICT Namibia. Be part of this discussion and add your voice to this conversation. Now, as earlier mentioned, I am joined in the studio by a team of well-versed representatives from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism. On my immediate left, I am joined by Mr. Johnson Ndokosho. He is the Director in the Department of Forestry. Mr. Ndokosho, good morning, sir, and welcome to the Government Information Center.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right. And then I am joined on the far left by Mr. Michael Otsup. He is the Deputy Director for the Forest Management Central and Southern regions. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the Government Information Center.
Good morning, and thanks for having us.
All right. Now, to set the ground or the records, and for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, Mr. Ndokosho, briefly tell us, so that we also establish then a common understanding, what VELD fire management is.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you very much to the GIC for affording us this opportunity to speak to the audience, to the Namibians out there. Yeah, when we talk about forests, and sometimes referred to as VELD fires, or in other terms, wildfires.
Yes.
We are talking about the fires that are burning outside in the forest.
Okay.
In the VELD, as others would call it, and in the grassland. Now, these fires are a natural part of the system. As you know, we are in the savannah, and Namibia has got savannas, and savannas naturally thrive when also the fire is within the systems.
Right.
Because sometimes you have seeds that fall from the trees, and the fire needs to come through so that those seeds can open up, and then after the rain, those seeds can then germinate. Okay. So it's really the biggest problem is what we call uncontrolled fires.
All right.
Or uncontrolled forest fires. These are fires that would burn the whole landscape.
Right.
And sometimes these fires also burn late in the season.
Okay.
When they are burning late in the season, they can be destructive because the climate is dry, the winds and the temperatures are high, and that kind of create a favorable situation for a dangerous and out of control fire that can really cause a lot of damage. So you now want to have a situation where when these fires are burning, they are burning in such a way that they are manageable. So you do that by a number of factors, and we are going to dwell on those in details as we go forward with our discussion.
All right. Now, Mr. Ndokosho, tell us, you've spoken about VELD fires later in the season. When is later in the season, and when are VELD fires most likely to occur?
Yeah. No, thank you very much for that very, very important question. You have, when we say like particularly this year, I wanted to begin there that this year we have had a lot of rains, and rains in Namibia also normally translates into vegetation buildup.
Right.
Yeah. So you have a lot of grass, and we refer to it as fuel load. Yeah. The fuel load is high because of the good rains.
Right.
Now, in that situation, you want to deal with, early in the season, we have something called control fire. Early in the season, when you say early, something like after the rains, normally in April, then around winter, say June, July, August.
Okay.
But June, July at least, that is early in the season. And then September, October, that's late in the season. And that's a dangerous time that I was referring to, that later in the season, you have high temperatures, you have prevalent wind conditions, and you have dry materials.
Right.
And this is a cocktail for disaster when it comes to fire. So that's why the idea really is to do what we call control fire or prescribed fires early in the season, because those fires are a little bit, they are not as hot as those later in the season. The winds are not as intense as later in the season, and you are then also able to reduce the fuel load, and then you are able to reduce the possible occurrence of the dangerous later season fires.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ndokosha. Now that we've established what veld fires are, Mr. Otsub, briefly talk to us about what the causes of veld fires are, or what contributes to it, actually.
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, there are several causes of wildfires. Firstly, we human beings are nearly 96% of fires are caused by our errors. And only 2 to 4% is caused by the lightning, which cannot be avoided at all. Now, if we look at our setups in our rural communities, we can see that generally there are schools, and mostly children are sometimes playing with matches and so on. And once these matches are used in an unresponsible way, then it can result in a fire which cannot be controlled. Secondly, the other causes are generally our highways, where a lot of transporters are traveling, and irresponsibly they use also cigarette butts. They just throw it out of their vehicles. We remember along our highways, we don't have much of clearance of grasses which can pick up a small light and then carry on to the trees and other vegetation to cause uncontrolled fires. And also, mostly, the mechanical appliances and machinery like graders. By this time, when we are in need to grade our roads after the heavy rains, there is also a threat for us to look upon the way the graders are used. Normally, we advise the operators to be followed by a vehicle with a firefighter. In case there is any spark, then they can quickly stop the fire. Then again, we have the farm workers who always use the appliances like welding machines and so on. And that can spark fires during the dry seasons. There are a lot of dry materials around which can catch any small spark of light, and that can spread the fire quickly. And the other is the picnickers, who are always, we have a lot of tourists around our countries, and in the parks where vegetations are higher and dry, and if they don't maintain their cooking or drying fires properly, that can spark fires.
Right.
Also, we have the operations of charcoal and firewood. Charcoal is known as the industry which is massive in Namibia,
Right.
and generally it applies throughout the year. And sometimes if they don't stick to charcoal production guidelines, which was dispatched already before the dry season by the ministry, by attending their cans 24/7, and as well as to make sure that the lids of their cans are closed. So if on the windy days, the wind can easily carry a spark out of the pot and cause fire and spread fire immediately. And then we have the hunters, illegal hunters, or yes, hunters for their own consumption, for our indigenous tribes. The fires, in absence of control measures, clearing around the dry grass can cause fires. So those are just some of the causes of fire.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Otsu, for highlighting that. Now, given the risk, how can ordinary Namibians then contribute to preventing forest fires in our country? Mr. Ndokosha, that goes to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question as well. Look, our strategy encompasses multifaceted approach. One is that we've got to look at prevention, and we've got to look at detection, suppression, and also after fire restoration, if you like.
Okay.
Now, prevention, what does it mean? It means that we need to bring awareness to the people.
Right.
We need to create education program and campaigns, informing people
Sensitizing them.
and sensitizing them to handle fire responsibly, and also to use fire safety tips, for example, and also to train them and to form some firefighting teams. That's on the prevention side. And of course, establishing what we call fire breaks,
Right.
or fire cut lines. So in other words, you create some sort of a gap in the landscape, so that if the fire is burning from this side,
It doesn't
it does not
proceed to the other.
proceed to the other side.
Okay.
The danger is that in what Michael was talking about, especially in the majority of our communal areas where indigenous people are staying in an area like Tsungwe, for example, they would burn from one side of the village, and then the whole landscape, because of it does not have fire cut lines and fire breaks.
Oh,
So the fire spreads uncontrollably,
okay.
reaching up to other people's properties, farms, and then destroy the whole grazing. And the grazing is essential for sustaining our livestock. And livestock are economic activities for the people,
Right.
the livelihoods. So basically, one spark can actually destroy the whole livelihood of people, and also affect the economy. So then that's on the prevention side. On the detection side is that we need to employ some technology. We are using, for example, mapping and remote sensing in order to kind of understand where fire occurrences are happening, and over time you'll be able to detect that these areas are prone to fire. You could also then have established trends and other information that would then be used to come up with fire management strategies. And of course, the third one is suppression. Suppression means that if the fire breaks out, you should not be waiting, because fire is dangerous. So that's why even in some cultures they say you've got to be talking to your neighbors, because in the case of fire, nobody's going to help you.
Right.
So we need to be able to put out the fire when we see it. When we see it happening, instead of taking videos of the fire happening, we need to participate
In putting
in
it out.
putting it out. And so that's what we call fire suppression. And this of course, needs some skill as well. And this is where we then come in to train teams all around the regions. Our officials are out there busy trying to sensitize, but also to train people to react to suppress fire when they do occur. One thing I can tell you for sure is that firefighting and fire suppression activities cannot be left to the one agency alone. It cannot be left to the government alone. It's the responsibility of each and every Namibian, whether you are a farmer, an ordinary community, you are a town council, and so on.
It's a collective
It's a
effort.
collective responsibility that we all must go out there and ensure that we put out those fires in order to safeguard biodiversity, properties, lives, and livelihoods.
All right. Now, Mr. Ndokosho, you've mentioned something quite important about the firefighters that are trained to put out these fires. I want to find out, do you have footprints in all the regions? And maybe whilst at that, if we can just also establish which areas are much prone to field fires.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, we have a footprint in the majority of the regions.
Okay.
But it's never enough.
Right.
You will never have enough personnel to deal with that kind of disaster should it occur. That's why we are always working with other partners, with the regional council. In each region, I think they've got something called disaster risk committee for the regions. And then we all the time we are on the lookout. First of all, we need to assess. We normally assess how is the level of fuel load. As I said, this year, for example, the rains were good. We already did the assessment, and we found that throughout the country, this time around, we have higher fuel load.
Okay.
And meaning higher vegetation, higher grasses. And that means also the risk of fire is imminent, and it can happen anywhere, really, in the country.
Right.
So if at this stage, the whole of Namibia is at risk.
It's at risk.
But there are times that it would rain very well on one part of the country and not so well on the other part of the country. So
yes.
where it has rained very well, you tend to then have fuel buildup, and those are the regions that are prone to fire. But we also track fire trends, and mostly the northern part of the region, especially the grassland of the north central areas. We call it Ombuga. That area is always prone to fire.
Okay.
In Kavango East, Kavango West, most of the northern regions, really Zambezi, these are the regions that are mainly prone to fire. But as I said, everywhere you have high fuel load, everywhere you have dry grass, fire can spring up anytime. It's really all about educating people and ensuring that we handle fire with care.
Okay.
Because if what Michael was talking about, somebody's driving and you toss your cigarette butt out there when they were not completely put out, the risk of the fire breaking out is quite great. And therefore, those are some of, or campfire. Somebody was having a campfire, camping somewhere, and then they do not put out the fire completely. It's essentially, those are type of risk that we are talking about.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Otub, Mr. Ndokosho here mentioned something about fuel load. For the benefit of our viewers and listeners at home watching right now, when we say a fuel load, what exactly are we referring to?
Thank you very much for the question. Yes, the fuel load is the quantity of the flammable material on the ground. It can be dry trees, it can be grass, it can be shrubs.
Okay.
So it's what we are talking about, the fuel load.
All right.
And of course, with the higher rainfalls, it's in all the regions, as you mentioned, they are higher. We understand that the wildfires are currently occurring in the desert, that area of Erongo. Yes, because of the fuel loads is naturally higher all over the country.
All right. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Now, I'll stick with you, Mr. Otsub, and I'm shifting gears now to impact of forest fires. Looking beyond the causes, let's now talk about the impact. What are the negative impacts that forest or veld fires has on the environment?
Thank you very much for that question. Generally, if we look at the wildfire phenomena, it's very destructive. It depends now as we talk about the high fuel loads. Definitely, it will spread faster. It will be hot fires. Now, generally, once the fires are hot, then most of the vegetation, especially the regrowth, will be destroyed. As far as the infrastructures will be affected, like the fencing, the water facilities, and as well as the housing.
Right.
And sometimes, at several occasions, we observed that wild animals as well, they will be destroyed during these wildfires, and people's lives are most of the time in danger. Therefore, if we talk about wildfire, normally we focus on the safety of people, animals, as well as to ensure, to secure that the infrastructures are well protected. So those are some of the environmental impacts of frequent fires.
All right. Now, Mr. Ndokosho, in the longer term, what consequences does frequent forest fires have on the Namibian ecosystem?
Yes, as my brother mentioned, that the frequent fire also, especially if it occurs every year, you know, it will destroy the environment,
vegetation, yes.
the vegetation, rendering it a desert, really. It will also affect our livestock because sometimes, especially in countries like Namibia, where the climate and the weather conditions is unpredictable, and you don't know whether it's going to rain, you know, next year or not. You know, now you want to at least have, you know, the grass or the grazing from this year, so you want to have it on your land
till next year,
so that you are able to sustain your animals. But if it's burned out by fire, that will also affect your livelihood and the livestock and the livestock or beef industry, which is really big in Namibia, one of the foreign currency earner, because most of it is also exported to destinations such as Europe and so on. So the effect can be really catastrophic depending on the scale. So it's really important that, of course, the biodiversity also. The biodiversity means different types of fauna and flora. So now you have the plants being destroyed, you also have the wildlife being destroyed, and then people can also lose lives if the fires happen so frequently. And then the economic problems of he was talking about infrastructure. It can be fences, the poles, everything burned down. It can be houses, because some people also do not remove the combustible materials around the houses,
around
or
the
the
houses.
offices, the schools. So we are actually using this opportunity also to urge everybody to make sure that your surroundings are free of dry grass and all this stuff that are going to put your building at risk, especially farmhouses and so on.
Okay.
So we need to make sure that they are kept clean, because the consequences could be dire.
All right. Now, Mr. Otsub, I want to shift gears to responses and preparedness. What should people do if they encounter a veld fire? what is the first thing that they must do? And also, perhaps we have established now that there are footprints in some of the regions. If you can also maybe just touch on that whilst at it.
Thank you very much once again. The history of fire prevention and response, I think, was done for many years in Namibia and under Directorate of Forestry. We started to really follow the way of multi-stakeholders, whereby before the onset of fire season, we start with awareness creation through stakeholder meetings, whereby the rural communities are part of it. And we go out to them and prepare them now on various ways. First, as my director said, how to prepare around their surroundings, clearance about 50 meters around their buildings and all important infrastructures. And then also to talk to them about to prevent fire at all the cost by talking to children, by talking to their cattle headers not to use fires in dry vegetation. And following that, then we start to prepare them on how to deal with fires. That is now, firstly, to train them. Training involves now basic skills and knowledge, what fire is, and if fire occurs, how are you going to do it? That's a part of the prevention. There are also some posters and bills we dispatch to different stakeholders talking about fire prevention and what to do, like how to use the campsite, the fire outside cleared areas in the vegetation or woodlands, savannas. And after that now, we also prepare them to have at least basic firefighting equipments, like fire beaters, firefighting machines, which you can load on a bakkie, the knapsack sprayers, which is now the device you carry upon you and which contains water. And then in case of fire, short fire, they can spray to put out the flames. Then we, as Johnson said earlier on, the control burning. That part is now when we use the drip torches and train people now how anyone can prepare his surroundings by using control burning. And this is done very early from mid-May up to around mid-July, when the vegetation is still a bit moist, especially in the night, when the humidity is higher, which means that the moisture is coming down to the ground, and it's very difficult for a fire to spread or to occur. So we use drip torch, which is a mixture of petrol and diesel in a container, and then there are procedures how to do it, and all the equipments I mentioned before must be at the site, and sizable manpower which can assist. In case you remember, you cannot control wind. So anytime wind changes and wind gets stronger, then at least these people can assist for this intervention to be successful. So that's now kind of the preparation and prevention.
Okay.
Now, if we move to the response now, is where we go when fire occurs now, is around the hot seasons. Like from now on, we have seen the wind is kind of coming up,
yes.
And the heat is coming in. The material are getting drier more. Then, during the training, we organize firefighting crews or firefighting units with their leaders, fire bosses, deputy bosses, and then we arrange them according to their teams, so that once the fire occurs, they are trained, the firefighting material on site, the backup teams are there from forestry, and so we can take fire on hand anytime when it occurs.
Okay, yes, please.
If I can just add also to say, directly to your question, is that if it depends really on the situation, the response depends on the situation. If somebody, a community member sees the fire, if it's small, put it out.
Do not delay.
Do not delay. If you see it's just starting, that's a good time to deal with it.
All right.
Just put it out there. And if you find it already burning, now you need to inform the authority. Now, the authority, Ministry of Environment, police, the regional council, everybody really, even including information, your ministry as well.
Yes.
So you get that information to the authority so that the authority are able to inform us promptly, because these fires need to be dealt with, otherwise they can be very destructive.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Ndokosha, I'm sticking with you.
Yeah.
I've learned something from Mr. Otsub here. He mentioned something called control banning.
Yeah.
When we say control banning, because ideally we are saying that no fire should be started and whatsoever.
Yes.
What is control banning?
Yes, control burning is basically the strategically using. You use fire strategically in a well executed and planned manner,
Okay.
so that it does not get out of control.
Okay.
And that's why we are saying you use it at certain time.
Okay.
We call it early in the season, when the conditions are favorable. But it's really control fire basically means you use the fire in a strategic way to reduce fuel load, because once you reduce the fuel load, in other words, under the controlled fire situation, even if I'm burning the grass here, the whole grass will not burn. So it will burn just some of the dry grass, but because that time the grass is not completely dry, it's still wet, so there will be still enough for the animals to graze on, but also not so much higher to create a dangerous fire later in the season. Okay. So it's a strategical using of fire to ensure that you reduce the fuel load.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, in this regard, Mr. Ndokosha, I'm sticking with you still. We've learned what an ordinary Namibian can do to prevent these fires. I now want to us to shed light on the role of government in preventing these field fires. Yeah. Please, if you can just shed light on that.
Yeah, thank you very much. The role of government is really to we have a mandate as a ministry, in this case, the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism. It's really to ensure that we manage the environment, we manage our forest, we manage our wildlife, our tourism in such a way that it's sustainable. Now, for that to happen is to say we need to ensure that the resources, the natural resources, the tourism endowment of this country is protected. I tell you, if all this land is churned out, burned out, no tourists will be enjoying anything here. Right. So we now have to ensure that the environment is protected, inclusive of making sure that we deal with the issues around fire, forest and field fires. Yeah, it's not only as a disaster and it can be economic loss, but it can also as well be creating an environment that is not really conducive for any visitors or any economic activities. I don't think we want that.
Absolutely not. Now, stepping back to the bigger picture, and this one is meant for you, Mr. Atsu. Talk to us, why are forests important to Namibia, and what actions can we as Namibian, as a collective, take to ensure that these forests that are so important to us are protected from veld fires?
Thank you very much. Yes, as Namibians, we need to manage our forests in a sustainable manner, which is the way we use, the rate we use. We need to ensure that we leave some for future generations. Forest is important. There are various services forest is providing. Some are like just for the environmental functioning of services, and some are just to provide us utilities, like as we mentioned earlier on, rural community, the entire livelihoods are depending on forest resources or forest, woodlands. That is, they derive their food fruits from the forest, construction materials from forest, as well as timber. There are some products which are not directly forest products, but non-forest products. And these are like devil's claw, that's grass which you use to construct your roofing. You have fruits, and you have some mopani worms like coming from the trees. And those are some, and the medicinal, very important. Rural people don't always run to the pharmacies. They always go in the field where they know according to their indigenous and cultural values. So they go and pick a shrub, and that can at least ready-made some of their ills. And furthermore, if we talk about this phenomenon of climate change, whereby we hear about heat waves, flooding, increasing wildfire, drought, and so on. That is, if we don't have forests stabilize our soils. Forests purify our waters. And if we just not take care of our forests, then we not benefit these benefits. And there are also some cultural values, you know. People have forests where they have, it's like a sacred sites where they have to do their traditional rituals. And that's very important that we keep our forests at least on sustainable manner.
Right.
I want to add also that the forests, they play a very, very important role in terms of fighting climate change. Because trees absorb carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and carbon dioxide is one of the greenhouse gases that are keeping the global warm. Secondly, trees or forests give us oxygen.
Right.
And as you know, every living organism needs oxygen to breathe. And without trees, that's not possible. So in addition to what my colleague has said, those are some of the other roles that I could add.
All right. So they say if we take care of the environment will in return then take care of us.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Mr. Ndokosho, basically we have established here that a lot has been said and done pertaining to the awareness of veld fires management or forest fire management. In your view, do you believe that enough awareness has been created around this topic of veld fires, and that enough awareness has actually been done to ensure that the communities know what to do once they encounter veld fires?
Awareness will never be enough. There's always room for improvement.
Right.
We have done what we could. We have done press releases. We have gone out to various community, but we cannot be everywhere and reach reach each and everybody. I mean, this is also part of that awareness creation. But I think they still need to do more, and not only us, but basically everybody. During this time, this is a time that we need all to come together and ensure that it becomes everybody's business.
Right.
That failed fire issues, even deforestation. The biggest problem that we have in this country is deforestation also. People are cutting trees sometimes for no reason. Where you have, for example, somebody say this, I cut this tree because there's a snake. And you cut down a big tree, and then the snake, by the time the tree is down, the snake has moved already to another tree because you saw it yesterday there. So it's not there. So some of these reasons for which we are really deforesting our area is not to be supported. We really need to ensure that we protect our forest, but we plant more also.
Right.
We plant more because we need wood. Firewood, 90% of our rural communities depend on firewood. Yes. So we need to really have this wood available for the longest of time because we need it for our braai, for our whatever, for cooking. And in some places, the trees are completely gone, and people are resorting to all sorts of things or even have to buy expensive firewood from far places. So this is really a resource that by planting, you can renew the resource. You can renew a tree, it's available forever, and then instead of cutting the whole thing, you remove some branches and so on, and you continue to have that tree existing.
All right.
So awareness is, to your question, awareness
is
never enough. We will have to continue doing it, and I hope that everybody else who's hearing this message will also spread it further to other member of communities.
All right. Mr. Otub, for somebody with a mindset that, like Mr. Ndokosha here mentioned, they saw a big snake in some big tree and they've then decided to cut that big tree down. And by the time they are done cutting the tree down, they see the snake moving the other side. What message do you have for them?
Yes, I think in an environment, if we talk about biodiversity, everything, including human being, I think is an ecosystem. We are talking about ecosystem. They are dependent and providers in an ecosystem. Therefore, we need always to make sure that everything in our environment is valuable. And we don't need just to start to destroy trees, but we need just to look for a better advice how to deal with that type of thing. In our ministry, if we talk about snakes, we have snake catchers.
All right.
If there are bees in a tree, we have beekeepers. We have seen many a times, one of the causes of fire is honey removal.
Oh.
And generally, indigenous people, they need to light a fire so that they can smoke and remove honey. Therefore, I think more awareness needs to be created about the control or the caring of nature. It must be entrenched in the brains of our people. And that can be done through the education, information giving, and also awareness creations on environment. Let's say environmental education need to be strengthened all over the country. And I think more meetings are needed, not only during the fire season, I think, but throughout the years. We need to talk about the phenomenon of, like fire is more closest to us, flooding is just in some areas. But we have realized recently that our downrest is burning, and I was told, even yesterday, that one of the guy was welding in the grass. So those type of people we need to address through the media, that they need to really be mindful about what they are doing, to stop those type of irresponsible causes which can bring in destructive fires, which can really destroy all of our rangelands and properties.
Maybe if I can also add is just to say that in many cases, arson is basically the deliberate starting of fire.
Okay.
It's a crime. It's a crime, and you can't be punished by if you are caught. So the people must really avoid this deliberate starting of fire just to cause damage to somebody else, or maybe a revenge. Someone who has a farm has not paid you, and then you just put it on fire as a revenge. Yes, this type of things happens as well, especially some of the farm workers. So we are also calling upon employers to make sure that their workers are paid, so that they don't resort to this type of
Encounter such.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Gentlemen, we are running out of time. I know there's still so much to touch on, but I want us to quickly shift gears to sustainable forest management. Moving towards the future, could you briefly explain what sustainable forest management is or what it means? Mr. Otsub, briefly, please.
Thank you very much. Sustainable forest management is gearing towards 3 pillars. The economic, whereby people need to have their livelihoods out of forest, and other industries like to have tourism, ecotourism. They make their wood carvings and so on. And if we talk about the forest, is still the ecological part, is the services forests provide. Provisional services where we get the resources for our sustenance, but then we have ecological services whereby we as alluded like the conservation of water, biodiversity conservation, as well as the soil stability, and the habitat need to be kept for our forests so that we can attract numerous tourists which are annually coming in. Because without habitat conservation, we will not have attraction, because our wildlife entirely depends on habitat.
All right.
So those, and then we have the social one, whereby we already alluded the cultural thought and beliefs which we have and which we are attached to our forests. Without forests, rural people cannot do much.
Right.
So for that, we need to, sustainable forest management is to balance these 3 pillars, the social, the economic, and the environment. So that if they are not balanced, if we deny forest, the environmental one, we just removed large quantities unsustainably.
Okay.
Then we not in future have forests which our generations to come will look at and benefit from.
All right. Sticking on sustainable forest management, Mr. Ndokosho, are there any current sustainable forest management initiatives that are currently ongoing that Namibians as a collective can perhaps, tap into support those initiatives?
Yes, we do. As the colleague has mentioned, it's really about balancing the 3 pillars, the economic, the social, and the environmental aspect of forest. So in other words, we want to manage it in such a way that it continues to provide the services that you just mentioned to both 3 pillars. Now, we do community involvement in forest management. We have about 46 community forests where we involve communities to ensure that they benefit from the resources, but also that they manage it themselves. We have got a pillar, we call it a tree planting, where we have forest degradation and deforested areas. We need to make sure that these areas are restored by planting trees or by leaving it to natural restoration. In other words, once you leave a certain area intact, with the rains, the area will be able to recover on itself,
Right.
and then we do not continue to disturb it.
Okay.
We have also law enforcement, where we say we regulate, we give permits for the utilization. If you want to harvest, certain resources, you have to get a permit for harvesting, and that will, in itself, will ensure that there is control on, and the resources continue to exist and not getting depleted.
Right.
Awareness raising and education is important, but also then we also partner to mobilize for resources to ensure that we support our communities to do certain other economic activities and reduce the pressure on the forest. Because as we alluded to earlier, majority of people cut down trees for energy reasons. Maybe they want firewood to cook or to build houses. So if we have got alternative materials,
Yes.
if we give our community alternatives, bricks and maybe zinc, they would probably not be using as much forest as when there is no alternatives.
Right.
Maybe cooking stoves and solars and so on and so forth. So we need to be able to give our community alternatives so that they reduce their pressure on the forest.
All right. Gentlemen, a lot still needs to be done, and we still have a lot to discuss, but unfortunately, we have run out of time for this morning's discussion. Thank you so much for taking time away from your busy schedules. I know you run important offices, but you deemed it fit to be here this morning to educate us on fire or veld fire or forest management. Thank you so much for being here this morning. But before I conclude, I'd like to please accord you a chance to say your final remarks. Especially, I want you to consider reforestation and tree planting in that line. Mr. Ndokosho.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have what we call tree nurseries all around the country, and we sell some tree seedlings at very cheap prices. The idea is really to give access to communities to be able to access these trees. It's fruit trees, shade trees, ornamental trees.
Where are these? Sorry, Mr. Ndokosho.
We have them all over. We have one in Enana, Ongwediva, here in Okahanja we have one, Mariental, Kidmanswap, Zambezi, Kapitatima, Rundu, everywhere. We really have this one, yeah. So people can really access this free. And we are doing it as part of the reforestation as well as afforestation program. We are in fact also developing a comprehensive national afforestation and reforestation strategy for the country in order to make sure that the tree planting activities are coordinated. Tree planting, as we have mentioned, is very, very important to address the deforestation problem that we have, and the more trees we have, the better. Also, I would just want to urge that in many towns and establishment, people are doing all this development. Every time you are doing a development, you are building a house, you are building a mall, you are cutting vegetation.
Yes.
But after you build your mall, you don't then plant these trees.
Right.
So we are urging everybody, all the mayors of these cities, ensuring that once your malls are established or once your development, the housing developments are completed,
please
now
plant trees.
Right. so that you beautify the towns, but also ensuring that you have habitat for our birds, you have oxygen for our people, and that then the trees continue to give us ecosystem services such as reducing climate change and whatnot.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ndokosho. Mr. Otsup, you have the final say this morning.
Yes, in the same line, I would like just to urge the private sectors and the mining organizations that they need really to be involved in reforestation of the sites around them. As Johnson alluded, we want every Namibian to plant a tree a day. Households, companies, farmers, let's plant trees.
As a collective.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Otsub. Gentlemen, thank you so much once again for making time to be with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Now, Namibia, that is all the time we had for this morning's discussion. We were looking at forest VELD fire management, and I was joined in the studio by a team of well-versed representatives from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry, and Tourism. I have been your host. My name is Hileni Felapo Samunyela. For now, take care.